To do another live reading for you guys. This is a charm reading I'm doing today. I had to stop my camera for a moment. So this is part two. I had already pulled some charms for the other live reading, but I'm doing coming back for the second part. And I may pull some beans as well. And just gonna see what I get. Just to remind everybody, I am still offering private readings. So to book a reading with me, you would send a payment. And using PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App, and then email me good day and time. I don't have a wait list currently, so but I anticipate some changes for my housing sometime May and June. So I prefer booking before May, ideally. And I do appreciate all donations. All the links are going to be in the description box. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. Those really keep me going, and I appreciate it so much. I am still partnering with Jackery. Have to say that because I really love them. They do solar power generators. The link to them is also in the description box. So yeah, so let's kind of pick up where I left off. I was talking about this piece right here. This is a puzzle piece actually that I found a long time ago, and I put in my charm bag thinking like one day it'll make sense, you know. And so actually that's kind of ironic because essentially the puzzle piece to me represents looking back at things and it making sense like after a period of time. So you know, I dated somebody a long time ago, and I found out later, you know, all of like the things that they had told me essentially weren't true. And, you know, all this stuff came to light a lot later. So, you know, things may come to light later on, but I also see the puzzle piece being about how life is kind of like a box of chocolates for everyone. And there's always going to be things that aren't really going to make sense now. Like if somebody told me that I would be doing a charm reading in 2023, back when I was like in college, I wouldn't have like looked at them like like I would have looked at them like what? You know, it wouldn't have made any sense, you know. I at that time, you know, I had been raised in a very religious household, and I didn't really understand my psychic gifts. I mean, so just like looking at it from that way, it's sort of like as things unfold, they call it unfolding, but if you think about it like the movie of life, it's like a movie through the animation of life. You don't necessarily know, like, if you're watching a movie, how it's going to end until you get to the ending. You can fast forward and then, you know, go back and find out. It's like reading a book and not really knowing until the end what happens, and that's the beauty of it. And so I don't know, for some of you, like I would tell you to avoid trying to control things, let things unfold, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, enjoy the like side trips and all the like experiences that you can, and you know, like let go of the obsession that you need to know how it's going to all work out or how it's all going to go. That's what I would say. We do have this starfish here, which is my favorite, you know, piece in my charm bag, actually. Well, I have a lot of favorites, so it's one of my favorites. But to me, this is divine, you know, divine spirits that are looking out for you. The divine also is about spirituality and having psychic gifts. I see the larger starfish as very special, gifted individuals, but I also see them as being very special, gifted children. So you may have a special child, or you may get pregnant and later in time with a very special child. But I see anytime that the starfish pop up when I do my charm readings, it's very positive. In fact, the more starfish that pop up, the better. You know, I actually experienced, this is sounding interesting. I actually experienced going to this beach. This was, I think, in Federal Way, Washington, here in Washington. And there was all these starfish, like the tide was really low and the entire beach was covered in starfish. And if you think about it, it's kind of like that thing where, like, sometimes in the summertime, if you go out at night, you can see like all the stars and like the entire, like all of the constellations and everything really clearly. So to me, anytime one of the starfish charms pops up, it's really blessings from spirit, blessings from heaven, remembering that you're connected to everything, remembering your divine heritage, which connects you to everything, remembering that. To me, it's also connecting to abundance. So some of you may be very have a very positive abundance mindset. That's what I want to say. Like, very strong abundance mindset where you're not really too worried about money, or you're not too really worried about, I don't know, like you're not in the poverty mindset, you're not in the like, there's never enough money, how am I going to pay my bills stuff. Like, you're in the place of, no, everything, like am in my abundance and money flows. And to me, it's healthy. I like to see that. We do have this. It looks like a pink ballet slipper. And this to me represents landing very softly. It has always kind of represented two things. It's represented actual physical dancing, or actual physical like sports, or movement of some kind. Typically on my channel, I don't see a lot of sports, but it could indicate some kind of movement for sports, and as well as dancing. But I see it being more of like I did like a whole video about Keith Urban's song, the Wild Hearts song that he did. And to me, I think of him, I think he's a Pisces, I can't remember. But to me, it's like the dancers and dreamers, the wild hearts, the people that kind of flit and float through life, or at least it has that energy. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you're going to be like a ballet dancer, or that you're going to, end up floating through life in some way. It's more of just like a positive energy that I like to see. It can represent actual dancing or a love for dance, and it can represent music as well. I'm going to link my Wild Hearts reading for you guys to watch to this video after. So like I'll make it like an end screen video. I did that like, I don't know when I did that. I don't know if that was last spring or last summer, when I first heard that song, and I really love that song. So I'm going to link it for you guys if you guys want me to do that. So I also talked about this being a charm about landing softly, soft landing. And to me, a soft landing has been kind of like not a metaphor, but words that words that have meaning to me, words that represent something. So, to me, landing softly means that you're no longer going to be in any kind of pain, suffering, sorrow, strife, hardship. If you've gone through a period of that, and whenever you get to the point where you decide, okay, I'm going to put down roots, and I'm going to land here, and this is where I'm going to stay, or this is, where I want to be, and wherever you feel that is, and some of you don't even know where that is yet, but let's just say, once you get there, you're going to feel like you've landed. And what that means is you're going to feel like, to me, it's a feeling about coming home. It's a feeling about feeling safe, feeling secure. I really love Shannon Yvette. She's another YouTuber. She's very religious, but she did this one video that was very important, and I want to encourage everybody to remember it. And she said that wherever it is that you're trying to get, and whatever feeling it is that you're trying to have when you get there, she said, basically you can experience that now, in this moment. You can feel that way now. And the way to feel that way now, in this moment, is to realize you're already there. You've already landed. You've already reached your safe spot, your positive, spot, wherever it is that you're trying to get. Whatever hill you're trying to climb, you're already there. And all the emotions that go with it, whether it's feeling successful, whether it's feeling like you've won something, whether it's feeling like you've gone places in your school, in your career, whatever it is that you've done, or however you envision yourself landing, to me, it's a very positive feeling that you can feel now in this moment and that you can have in this moment and that's already happened. So I tried to find that video a while ago and I couldn't. So I would encourage you to check out Shannon Yvette. But yeah, the reality is that we already have it. We already have everything that we are wanting, essentially. We already have it. It's a trick of life that and capitalism that makes us think that we don't have things that we want. It's like stuff that's pushed on us all the time, and the planet, I shouldn't say the planet, but the capitalist society that we're in makes us think that we got to have everything, and we're incomplete without it. But the thing is it's not true. We have everything. Energetically, we have everything. We have everything we ever really could ever want. And it's like that abundance mindset of believing that as many stars there are on the sky and as many starfish there are on the beach, you can have as much as you want. And it's very interesting. I remember when I lived in Omaha, there was this point in time in which I went outside and it was spring, similar to around this time. Maybe it was May, June, I don't know. And the air was just so soft. And I felt like I could breathe, and I could breathe in as much air as I wanted. And there was no limiting. To me, I had felt so limited up until that point. And it wasn't until I realized, I was like, I can breathe, I can live, I can have as much air and feel free and feel like I'm not chained, enslaved, to the devil, It was a beautiful moment. And then there was another time too, later in time, that I actually, I remember quite clearly because I had, in Omaha, I had wanted a garden so badly. And I started planting, the landlord let me plant on the property, which is actually quite amazing because I wanted it so much. And I had basically, outgrown, I had maxed out my patio with all kinds of crazy vegetables and plants. And I wanted to experience the plants so much and so badly that I felt like I couldn't stop buying plants. I was just one of those things I was just impassioned about and obsessive about. And then one day I was driving home and it was the summertime and I was breathing the air and I smelled the grass and the plants. And then I realized, oh, I'm connected to all of those plants. Every time I take a breath, I am breathing in all of those plants. I don't have to create this crazy cool garden, although I still want to, in order to have all of those plants and experience all of those plants. All I need to do is breathe. That's it. And it was just kind of a cool moment. So some of you may have these moments where you realize you're actually more connected to other people than you think. And you actually may have these kind of spiritual moments where you realize you have everything you want right now in this moment. However, I say that, and we have this very special, you can see it's a metal piece, and it says, "The mountains are calling and I must go." And to me, again, this is kind of like having what I call wildness. And wildness is like a energy of, again, needing to kind of be free. But wildness is kind of like a restlessness, kind of wanting to experience things, not necessarily feeling settled, not feeling satisfied where you are, not feeling like you want to settle down necessarily, not necessarily fitting in, but also not necessarily feeling like you know where you're going entirely. Some of you may live in the mountains or near the mountains somewhere. But to me, this is having a zest for the outdoors or wanting to be more closer to nature. So to me, living in a city for this kind of a person, there's someone that's watching that this person cannot be cooped up. This person needs to take space. Someone like needs to go on like a road trip, or maybe you're wanting to go on like a road trip. And this is not just like a, like, okay, we're going to go for a couple hours here or there. This is like a larger road trip. For some of you, this is also indicating of some major life changes. The mountains are calling is major life changes. So like, let's just say, for instance, you've always thought one thing is going to happen in your career. This is like switching directions and doing something else. This could be literally doing like a long distance move for some of you. It's interesting, on my other channel, I was seeing something about a move. But it does come up a lot. Moving and traveling is in the collective a lot. So I'm not surprised that it's showing up here. But to me, this is a very special piece to me. A very special piece. And I want to say too, again, sorry, sometimes I get emotional when I'm doing my channelings, but this one is a very special piece. And, some of you, or maybe someone that's watching, I should say, lost somebody, like, like someone, like you have a deceased loved one and you lost them when they were quite young. And I'm getting confirmation on that. So you lost them. I want to say they were under 40. Okay. Potentially if someone's watching where they were maybe even under 30. And, I feel like they're definitely around. And to me, this is what this piece really represents. It's someone who had wildness in their blood. And when you have wildness in your blood, there's no really containing them. Sometimes they're a little bit, when I say restless, sometimes that equates to what would be a clinical diagnosis of like ADD or something like that, where they're not able to focus for a long time. People that have wildness typically can focus when they focus, but like they ultimately are trying to, like, it's like their energy is trying to get to everything and everywhere, and they have all at once. Like they want everything all at once. And so look, a lot of times when we're young and teenagers, college students, like it's natural to have that energy. But sometimes part of the reason why we have that energy is because we're not necessarily going to live the longest life. I don't see, well, I should post some other charm to see if it comes out here, but there is a specific charm to see if I don't see it. Not yet, anyways. If this is what I would consider to be like a shooting star person. To me, this is more of a person who just had wildness. Now, you might have wildness in the sense that you might be very passionate about life and like you might want to go places and do things. Like, it's really interesting. Like when I was younger, I can't even tell you like all the things that I wanted to experience. I wanted to go try every restaurant. I wanted to go shopping in every store. And when I lived in downtown Chicago when I was in school, in college. I mean, I went basically shopping every single day, but I didn't buy things every day. I just went and I looked like every day, every store. I was like insatiable. People that have, their wildness, it's like a kind of insatiable zest for life. And that's the beautiful part about them. The hard part is getting them to adapt to what I would say the like normal societal expectations, getting them to fit in the box. This is a very special person. So they probably had, it was like, it's almost like, they probably didn't feel like they ever really fit in. They may have struggled in school or struggled with friends. For some of you, you may have felt that way as well. But to me, it's more, I feel like this is a specific person who has passed away. And that's what they were like. So I'm describing more of like what they were like. Okay. Now, some of you, I'm not going to lie here. We've got it's a baseball glove. And every time I see that, I think of like a player. Okay. So some of you, like someone was watching, either your player or, you know, the person that you're interested in is a player. It doesn't mean that they have bad intentions. Like players kind of get a bad rap in the sense that like they usually everybody, no matter who they are, generally tells you what their deal is in the beginning. But nobody listens because we all want what we want. And so like if in the beginning you date someone and they tell you they don't want a relationship, or they tell you they just want to sleep with you, or they tell you they don't want whatever, believe them, because you will end up being disappointed and heartbroken if you try to get them to change their mind or date them, and then later on when they ghost you or when they decide they're no longer interested, then it's going to be disappointing. For others, I feel like some of you just know who this is and some of you can get very obsessed though too with like what's going on with this type of person, because this type of person kind of keeps you guessing and kind of isn't in it for the long haul. They're in it for the short term, basically. Now, some of you are interested in sports, like literally, maybe you're, doing some baseball this season. I've got the spring baseball season. I don't pay attention to sports, but some of you may be going to some games or doing some sports with family. I feel like that's less of this situation. I feel like more so it's going to be like the person that you're interested in is not in the relationship forever, and or not in it for commitment, basically, at the very least. I want to talk about this key for a moment. This key, to me, represents wanting to meet like a Mr. or Mrs. Right. But to me, this is an idealism. Okay. Some of you, like you believed that there was a certain person that like was your Mr. or Mrs. Right. Okay. I'm not seeing it with these charms exactly how the relationship is going, and I'm not necessarily seeing if it's going anywhere. For as far as I'm concerned, you would have to do a private reading, because then I'd be able to look, for like I'd have to look to see if, for example, this was going to indicate like, okay, where the coast is clear as far as your relationship, and there's a lot of positive charms, and it looks like this is, you're going to be ending up with somebody. It's interesting, my throat is closing when I'm talking about this, so I'm not going to actually talk about this charm. I'm going to talk about some other charms. Why? Because I feel like for some of you, it's a really difficult topic. It's very difficult. Like, I feel like some of you are actually like a little bit hangry about the concept of a Mr. or Mrs. Right. Like, you're a little bit like, I'm not going to say that you're, my guides are saying you're jaded. That's what I want to say. You're jaded. Okay. So maybe you've lost hope in relationships, or maybe like you don't see anything with anyone. So it would be hard for you to believe that anyone would be out there for you. Or, like I said, some of you are a little bit hangry about any kind of Mr. or Mrs. Right. Like to me, it's like the fairy tale is no longer. Doesn't mean you can't see. The thing about it is that, people assume that, relationships are over by the time you're 30, and that's not the case. People go on to get married multiple times. People go on to have kids later in life. People go on to adopt. People go on to do all kinds of things. So it's just like, for some people that it's just a very difficult topic for them, I feel. Love is a very difficult or challenging topic. We do have this little blue bird that's showing up here. This little blue bird is kind of like a message of hope, to be hopeful that there is hope. that there are things to look forward to, that um I feel like some of you are hopeful that you're maybe going to get with someone that you've broken up with, or someone that I want to say broke your heart. That's what I want to say. Um I want to talk about this little sword here for a second. This little sword, I'm going to show this. Oh, these are not in focus. So there we go. Okay, so we've got these charms here. So we've got this little sword, and this little sword is like right next to the bird, and so is this broken this is a broken sword. So the broken sword to me represents a breakup of some kind. This could be also news of a breakup, somebody breaking up, you hearing about it somehow. Or like, someone texting you and be like, okay, like we're done. Like, what's your deal? Um, but like the little sword indicates small problems. Little things that are really irritating. That's what that little sword represents. Um I feel like some of you want to go on some kind of adventure, some kind of thing. You want to do something different. But you feel maybe restricted because we have this in this chain here. So there's some kind of restriction. So there's somewhere that you want to travel. There's some place you want to go. Um, but you feel like maybe you can't for some reason. I feel like some of you, there's someone that has problems with a mother or mother figure. I'm seeing that to me that we have the mama bear charm. This is the mama bear charm. I got this charm a long time ago thinking, okay, I needed a charm that's going to represent becoming a mother, for people that want to become a mother, that want to have kids. And the fact that it's showing up here, to me, it seems like those of you who are living in a certain place, if this were to come to pass, I feel like you're gonna have to move somewhere for that to happen. And some of you are going, well, I'm never planning on moving, so that's not applicable to me. Maybe not, but for the person that's watching that maybe like wants to get pregnant or wants to have children, I feel like you're gonna have to move. And you're gonna have to say, you know what? I'm breaking ties with this old energy, whatever this old energy represents to you. Maybe it's like, for some of you, breaking away from what you've always known. Like, say you've like always been in a certain place. Like maybe this is breaking away from like family in some way. Like, if you live near your parents or with your parents, to me this is like moving away from them, breaking away from those kind of bonds. Or kind of closeness. I want to say there's a positive mix of seashells, which are these like pieces here, and I think these are stone, some kind of stone beads. I don't think they're turquoise. There's some kind of, I don't know if it's agate. But to me, this is like, the stone represents like the earth element, and the seashells represent the water. So some of you may be earth signs, some of you may be water signs, but to me, it's a healthy balance here. So I would tell you, like, for those of you water signs that are like wanting to like get up and go, I would tell you that this, I feel like, is going to apply more to water signs and happen when the sun is in a water sign. So like July or like November. And then those of you earth signs, I feel like the earth signs really aren't going to go do this. I feel like the earth signs are going to be staying. That's what I want to say. But some of you who have a lot of earth in your chart may want to go take kind of a trip or do something like that. But I just feel like these energies to me are more separate. But if you were to do that, then it would be when the sun is in like an earth sign. So we're looking at May, we're looking at September, or we're looking at next like January, something like that, even like late December, for timing wise. I do want to move these over and look at my beans really quickly, just to kind of break it up a little bit. See what we get for these beans. I'm seeing like this actual rune. I think it's of wholeness. It's about wholeness. So some of you, I'm seeing multiple things and hearing multiple things. So like basically to me that energy is about going back to the beginning of the reading a little bit, and being whole within yourself, working on maybe calling all of your parts back, not necessarily falling down rabbit holes too much on social media, or like getting obsessed with certain people, or like what's going on with the drama at work, and kind of pulling your energy back and being like, okay, I'm going to be a whole person right now, and I'm going to focus on me and work on being a better person myself. And it's really hard to do that sometimes because we meet all kinds of people in life and we can all fall down a rabbit hole somewhere. So you're not alone here. And so this is not a criticism. It's more of just, this is what the energy is. So some of you need to do that. Like, I think it was Matthew McConaughey that said, when you're doing me and me, you attract good things, or something like that. I forget exactly what the quote was. But he's like, I don't know how he said it. It was like, when you're doing me and me plus me, you're ready. You're ready for a relationship. There was actually a TEDx talk, this woman who talked, she'd been married like several times, and she said love was staying home and reading a good book. That's what she said. And I still, like, it's not satisfying, I think, for some people to do that. Because I think that what's satisfying for most people is to get into a relationship that kind of feeds their soul or feeds their energy in some way, one or the other. It's going to feed your soul, it's going to feed your energy. And it helps be like a kind of distraction for yourself, because then you could obsess about the other person and what's going on and be really wrapped up in the relationship, but not really necessarily go do all the things for yourself that you would need to do if you were single. And not necessarily do the soul work, which you would need to do when you're really away from the tribe, when you're out of a relationship. So some of you need to work on yourself in order to, I don't want to be that person that says when you work on yourself, you'll find a relationship. Because honestly, people could live for 100 years and still be working on themselves and not meet someone. So I encourage everybody to make an effort as far as meeting people. I do feel like most people, like if are looking for a relationship, ultimately they will attract that in because that's what they're looking for. Like ideally, like that's what is on their mind, and what we think about, we bring about. So if you're thinking about a new relationship all the time or having a new relationship, you ultimately get into one. Is it going to be necessarily the ultimate relationship of what you want? Probably not. But the reality is that most people do manifest a relationship if they want one. There was something else about wholeness. Wholeness is also working on your emotions and processing your feelings. Wholeness is also working on your diet. And the best way to process emotions is with our body and our diet. So some of you really need to eat better foods, more fruits, more vegetables. If for whatever reason you're not eating enough meat, eating more meat, or not getting enough protein, making sure you're getting enough protein. This is not going to be applicable for everybody, but like I'm seeing, like, I feel like some of you just aren't eating enough, and some of you aren't eating the right things, and some of you are eating it sporadically. I met this one guy a long time ago. He was a customer, like I was working someplace and he was a customer. He told me that basically he didn't eat all day. And then he went home and he made rice. That's all he lived on was rice. And I was like, like, and I could see in his face, his blood sugar was crashing. Like I could see, like he had red cheeks, and his blood sugar. He needed to eat something. Like he needed to have something. And at that point, it didn't even really matter what it was. Anything with protein really helps. A salad really helps. Vegetables really help. There's all kinds of things to eat that help manage your blood sugar and get your blood sugar back up to where it's supposed to be. But also help, it's very important to balance out your blood sugar. So eating more blueberries, apples, those things actually help your blood sugar. But for some people, like if you're going into work and then going all day without eating, and then you're coming home and then you're finally making a meal and then you don't eat until like 6 o'clock, it's not enough for your body. Like your body needs more food. Your body needs more nutrition. Like, so some of you are actually doing a lot during your day. I don't even know like how you're getting through your day. Some of you may be sustaining on, 4 cups of coffee, or you're sustaining on some kind of sugar or something that's like, could be even like a sports drinks or something like that, where you're getting through your like whole day without really eating like proper food. So I would start off with a smoothie with some greens, and some blueberries, like half an avocado, make an actual like breakfast, maybe with some eggs. It doesn't have to be complicated, but there needs to be more food there. That's the thing I'm seeing. Where are we in time? Okay, what else? Okay, so let me go back to these beans here just a minute. I'm seeing this dog. It's a really funny looking dog. It looks like a Scottish Terrier, actually. I don't like, message me in the comments if you have a Scottish Terrier. It's a funny dog. You could also have a French Bulldog. I'm seeing a French Bulldog. I almost saw like a snowflake. Some of you, there's going to be something that happens in the winter time. This coming winter. Although if you're in the southern hemisphere, it would be next spring, I think. Right? Something like that. No. Next summer. Sorry, next summer. I get it confused. It's hard for me to concentrate on things like that when I'm reading. That's awesome. Thanks, Lindy, for sharing that. Lindy says that she is a little Yorkshire Terrier that she's playing with right now. The energy from the dog that I was seeing, just to go back to that, was very positive. I felt like it was like your dog's really happy. Of course he's happy because he's out playing fetch with you right now. But, for those of you also watching later in time, I feel like I feel like you have some very happy pets. That's what I want to say, very happy pets. There is one pet that's coming through. This is going to sound very strange, but I want you to check their nose, like touch their nose, because I feel like there's one pet in particular that has a cold, that isn't feeling well. And you need to check, I think when you check the dog's nose, it basically tells you if they're well or not. Okay, this is just what I've heard. I don't know, I don't have a dog, but check their nose. So like touch their nose and see if it's cold or if it's warm. Because I'm pretty sure that it should be cold. If it's warm, then they are not feeling well. I'm seeing a kite. Um, so some of you have like a father-daughter. To me, there's a father-daughter connection. Could be a deceased loved one, but it also could be like a strong father-daughter connection. And you might be planning things to do, like maybe taking them to the beach, or maybe taking them, out shopping, or doing fun things with them alone. And I feel like that's good for them to have that experience. So I'm seeing the kite, and I'm seeing like a positive father-daughter experience. Some of you may be doing fun things also, or planning like something like a fun activity. Again, it could be like an outdoor activity. But when I think of the kite, I think of summertime and how I actually had this kite. This is gonna sound funny. I couldn't get it to work. And it was a total disaster. And I kept running along the beach, and everybody were like, they were watching me, and it was a sad show because I couldn't. And it was one that I got, I think maybe at Goodwill back in the day. It wasn't like a real deal good kite, I need to get a really good kite because I feel like kites are actually quite fun. I don't know. It's very important for people to have fun. So I would tell you to balance out your um your work life and your home life. But I also will tell you that to me, the kite is like a symbol of like a positive shift, like a positive omen of good things, almost kind of like a lucky omen, or like it's just a positive sign. It's kind of the sign of something unexpected, unexpectedly good. When I think of the kite, I think of like a positive times in my life, really, really positive, like the good times in my life. I think of the kite. Even though the last time I tried to fly a kite, it was a disaster. It doesn't matter. I still think of it as a positive because other people are more successful at it than I am, which means that it's possible. And I still think of it as a positive thing, but a positive, unexpected thing too. Like some of you don't think good things are going to happen, or you don't think that there can be positive shifts. But I feel very strongly that there are going to be some positive shifts that are unexpected positive shifts. I also see my guide is showing this. I'm not even looking at the beans, and I'm just talking right now. But like I've seen before, hot air balloons, and when I see a hot air balloon, to me that's a sign from spirit that good things, like even if you think, or you're going through a tough time, even if you think good things aren't coming, like to me, the hot air balloon is a positive sign. It's kind of like that higher perspective. It's kind of that feeling of like when you're in an airplane, you kind of get to detach from all of your problems and kind of leave them behind on the ground. It's that higher spiritual perspective that all is okay and all is well. Okay, this is interesting. I'm seeing a food dog. So to me, the food dog is actually really positive. Food dog is actually very protective. Very positive, very protective. And some of you may have some like connection to like Chinese culture. Lindy, I think this reading is specifically for you. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, going back to what I said about the food dog, what was I saying? I was saying the food dog is oh yeah, you might have a connection to Chinese culture. You might kind of feel like you need protection right now, or you might feel a little bit like you have your walls up when it comes to like the world. Like you don't necessarily maybe like want to let people in, or you may necessarily kind of be like in your own little bubble. So I don't know. Why is the food dog coming up? I'm going to pull a card. Huh. I feel like some of you are really worried about the future. You're really worried that bad things are going to happen, like that bad things could happen. Like, and I know I don't really help this because I talk on my channel a lot about the 7 years of tribulation and all that stuff. But to me, it's like some of you are very concerned about the future in the sense that maybe there's things that you don't want to have happen. But I get my guide is saying don't let the trauma of like the past become the trauma of today. Don't like bring the trauma from yesterday and make it about the trauma today. I feel like some of you need it like a fresh start. You need to like again have like a fresh start, maybe in a new town or in a new relationship. I feel like some of you are traumatized by people in your life that aren't good for you, or you're very hurt by people in your life that aren't good for you. And some of you have kind of retreated, like you've retreated some way, somehow. And that's why the food dog is there, because the food dog is like, trying to kind of bring in the protection. I would also pay attention to red flags. I would also like really, we have the sun in Aries and we are about to go into Mercury Retrograde soon. So I would really pay attention to the moves that you make at this time. This is not necessarily a time to sit on the bench or sit on the fence or like take too much of a time out of life. Like you still need to participate. You need to believe that you're protected and know that you're protected. I would keep an eye out, I would keep an eye out like your surroundings and be smart about like the places that you're going and the things that you're doing and the food that you're eating, because not everything is safe, Sorry, we lost focus here. There we go. So, yeah, that's pretty much, I think I want to end here. I'm going to pull maybe, see if there's any last charm that comes out. This is interesting. Okay, so we've got this is my angel wings charm, and you can see, it's kind of got a lot of bling on it. And that charm to me is about, in some ways, stepping through doors. And, my aunt always used to talk about, Beth, it's just another door that you got to step through, or it's just something that you got to go through. So some of you, like, there's some things that you are going to need to go through at this time. It might be something that's mildly challenging to something that's really challenging. Me personally, I would say, sorry, almost dropped the camera there. Me personally, I have stuff going on with my car, been ongoing for a while. And so that's something that that's a door that I have to walk through. Anything that's maybe challenging at this time, whether again, it's mildly challenging to majorly challenging, something that you just have to do. Some of you, it's like a doctor's visit or doctor's appointment, also something that you have to do, like that you might not want to do. Maybe it's a teeth cleaning. Maybe it's an OBGYN exam. Maybe it's like something that you really don't want to do, but you have to do. And I feel like for some of you, like that's, it's just things that you're going through that are part of life. But the consolation with this charm is that if you've been through like a series of tests and walked through many, many doors and are kind of tired, this is where I am being shown there's really not too much more to go. And I wrote myself a letter a long time ago that basically said that I had like one, maybe two more doors that I had to walk through. And then all I needed was a pair of wings. Because once you get through those obstacles or once you get through those tests, like you're free, and once you get your wings, you kind of, get your karma, like your karma's free. And I don't know, it just is sort of like like a graduation of sorts. Now, someone may be actually graduating somewhere. Okay, maybe you be selling a graduation, celebrating a graduation. I'm not talking right. Maybe like maybe taking them a gift or going to their actual graduation. To me, the wings is some kind of graduation for like, it could be high school, it could be college, could be like completing certificate program, something where you are finishing, something you're finishing, or you're accomplished on. But I'm getting shown for most of you, actually, this is where, if you've been through a lot of doors, things that you've had to go through and walk through, you're really almost there. And really what you need is to have that, embrace your freedom, embrace new opportunities, embrace what's coming from a perspective of, yeah, you've been through a lot, but you don't need to keep beating yourself up for those past experiences, or you don't need to keep thinking that you've got to like continue to what I call bulldoze your life and then rebuild. But I would tell you that life is a continuous construction project, but it doesn't always have to be quite so hard. So I feel like for some of you, like you're at a point of spiritual graduation where you're kind of getting to the next level of your awakening, or like next level of your journey of some kind. For some people, you might be actually awakening others at this time. Or others might be awakening you to whatever level. So like, you'll know where you're at. When you see this, you're going to know who you are, exactly where you're at. I do want to leave off here. I think this is a good place to leave off. Thanks, Lindy, so much for your comments. I appreciate it so much. If you would like to have a private reading, please send a payment or donate. You can send a payment or a donation through my PayPal link, my Venmo or Cash App. I appreciate it a lot. But if not, I will see you guys next time. Please check out my channel, my new channel, The Whale Called Moon. It's a recommended channel, and there's other readings on there. I think I did my 6th reading over there today. I'm trying to do balance out my time here on this channel and my time over there. So it's a lot of work, and all the likes and shares are really appreciated. Appreciate everybody, contributing and being supportive. And yeah, hope you enjoyed your reading. And I will be back again, guys. I send everyone big hugs and big kisses, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. All right, take care. All the best. Bye, guys.